Okay, welcome, dear listeners, to another spine tingling episode of Dark Hearts, the podcast where we delve into the shadowy corners of human nature and explore the stories to send shivers down your spines. I'm your host, LD Patiloma.
And I'm Monieka. We're thrilled to have you join us today as we embark on a journey that's both terrifying and fascinating. As we kick off our Valentine's Day month, we're flipping the script on love and romance to explore a darker side of passion, one that involves women who've committed heinous acts of violence.
That's right. So today we're diving deep in the chilling world of women serial killers. These are not just tales of horror, they are complex narratives filled with psychological intrigue and societal implications, and sometimes even traffic backstories.
From the infamous to obscure, we'll be discussing a variety of cases that highlight how these women navigated their lives in ways that led them down such a really dark path. It's a topic that is both scary and haunting, perfect for setting the mood as we approach Valentine's Day.
So grab your headphones, settle in as we prepare for a roller coaster ride through chilling tales of love gone wrong, obsession turned deadly, and the eerie motivations behind these women's actions.
So, whether you're a true crime aficionado or you're just curious about what drives someone to commit such unspeakable acts. This episode promises to be both enlightening and unsettling.
Of course it is. So, without
Right?
further ado, let's get started and join us to uncover the stories of these women who took love to an entirely different and terrifying level. Okay, so as we get started, I'm going to share this out. We definitely wanted to do that. As you come on, say hello. I do see some people lingering over here. Okay, let's see. Okay, always have to go into YouTube. Um,
Before we get started, we should give our happy birthday shout out too before I forget.
yes, I'm waiting for her to come on, but it's Jen's birthday week. If you follow us on TikTok, then you know who Jen is. So happy birthday! She's turning 25, all over
And we
again.
here, we'll say it again.
Yes. Let's see. Okay, is this us? I hope we're live. Oh, maybe I gotta. Yep, we are live. You know who Jen oh, shh. Okay. Da, 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 da. Okay. Tiffany couldn't make it today, but she should be on for a podcast. Um, let's see. Okay. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Gives us a little minute to just catch up. Okay. And I got people on the TikTok. So it's just like sharing it out is like a whole thing.
No, it's all good. When I was doing our research for Valentine's Day and our lovers' tales and things, that I'm just kind of throwing out there, I had seen that it says only about 15% of all homicides are committed by women. Can you imagine
Really?
that? Yeah, and can you? This is the first thing I thought of. 15%. I'm thinking, we're here talking about how women have killed for love or in like a crazy love, thing way or whatever. And I
Yeah.
started thinking, if women, if it's only 15% for me, I feel that's pretty small for us. But at the same time, like, I mean, I'm not go for murder. I'm just saying, like, 15%, right? Okay.
Mhm.
The first thought I thought of was, I'm pretty sure 14% of that was kills for love because women don't just I mean, I've watched plenty of Snapped, but, like, women just don't kill for fun, you know what I'm saying? We're
I don't
natural
know.
killers, and unless something happened to us when we were very young, and it's instilled something really crazy in our mind. That's why women later, have had problems that have actually liked what they did. But like that's like a one percenter. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes.
that's I thought that was so crazy when I was thinking about it and going over the stuff that we were going to be talking about this month. Uh,
Yeah.
and I was like, you know what, I want to share that with them because I really thought it would have been more like around 25-30%. Not that I, like I said, not that I'm go for murder for love.
Yeah.
It's more understanding as a woman, like why a woman would do something out of love and snapping in passion in a passionate moment. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I mean, we hear about it happening with men sometimes too, about how men come in and they catch their wives in their own home after being, I don't know, away on a tour and they
Yeah.
snap. Things happen. But
Yeah.
it's very rare that, that women just kill for fun is what I mean. But when I
Yeah.
heard about the 15%, I was like, 15%
They
of all.
kill with passion.
Yeah, exactly. Like women, like I said, we really like to be in that nurturing way. We like to be the most feminine person we can be, but sometimes we have to step into that masculinity when we're having to get too much work done at home and when we overdo ourselves. Sometimes a mom will bite
Sometimes,
off more than she can chew.
yeah.
And I understand certain reasons when I'm reading some of these stories.
Yes.
But I really thought that 15% or would have been a little bit higher.
You know, I don't know. I don't know. It's just okay. So I was starting to read the Granny one, and I can kind of go
Chris,
through it. Oh, Sarah,
yeah.
I have
Hey, Sarah.
freaking hair on my mouth. So I'm like, oh my god, where is it at? Yeah, Sarah. So it's Jen's birthday weekend. So it's the '80s theme. So I was like, well, I'm gonna go after over there after this. So I was like, well,
Might
it's
as well get ready before.
80s meets 2007 emo bang.
Nice. You know what? When I saw your bang, I was like, nice.
Yes, I'm trying to rock it, and I'm still putting on makeup as I go. But
It's all good. It's all good. It's all good.
I'm just doing what I can. Okay, so let me look up this granny one because it really wasn't prepared. It's just been kind of crazy.
It's all good.
But I think she was called the Granny Killer in the 80s.
Granny.
And I had found a picture of her, and I can share the picture as well. Hey, Chris. Okay, so we decided to do serial killers.
Hmm.
So, and as we go in, if y'all want to join in, y'all can come in and join. Um, so I was going to have. Am I echoing?
No, I hear a little static. I'm not going to lie. It's very little, but I do hear it.
Like, why is it so loud? Okay, let me turn it down. Okay.
Now, wait, was Granny Killer considered to be a serial killer, though? I haven't seen that yet or not.
Yes, she was a serial killer, 1980s, making. Oh no, it was a granny killer. That's John Wayne Clover.
Yeah, I was going to say I was kind of confused. I just want to make sure that
I
I'm on the
have
right.
the name on my phone. Let me pull her up. Let me get you the name real quick. Oh man, I just
Yeah, because it's just in case for our viewers too. Like it was when I was looking up Granny Killer, it brought up a man. I was like, hold on, I'm not talking about that man.
yeah.
I'm talking about the
I
actual
I had
Granny.
it earlier on my phone, but then I shared the link.
Yeah, I think sometimes when we're looking up the Granny Killer, it always winds up pulling up that guy. So I just want to make sure that I have.
That makes sense because when I started listening to it while I was getting ready,
Mm-hmm.
it was. I get it now. The beginning that I got of it.
Was it
Okay, so there's
Dorothea?
Aline Werno. She's the first female serial killer. I can talk about her. A very first, America's first serial killer.
America's.
America.
Probably. We should probably do like a series on the first women in all the states that we know of that have been like, or like in the UK and things like that, like the first women.
Oh yeah. Um,
Let's see.
oh nice. Yeah. Okay, so I think maybe like the comments are lagging on our ends, but
Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
she sent me her pictures too. I was like, that looks really good. She did a really good job. Hey Chris. Okay, so make sure if you're watching and you're feeling like laggy, move that go on that video and make sure you drag it all the way forward because sometimes you'll be getting something from like a couple minutes ago, 20 minutes ago, so always try to keep that forward. Um, But yeah, I was really excited. I'm like,
I have a quick question, Mary.
I look good.
Is it Lavina Fisher, right? Is that how you
Um,
say it? Who was the first woman serial killer?
I got, yes, Aline
Okay, I
A.
just want to make sure I kind of pronunciated that one.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So,
while you get Granny Killer Redder, I'm gonna just talk about her a little bit.
well, Granny Killer's out.
Oh, okay, no,
Since
that's
I'm
all
in.
good. Okay, then here we are. Okay, guys. So this is so crazy. Like now that we're talking about her, Lavina Fisher, the first American serial killer as a female, right?
I feel like
Her
this
birthday
one.
is actually February 18th.
Oh, a Pisces. Is that a Pisces or is that a
Yeah.
Aries?
It says, if people had kind of like talk about her like an urban legend, but she was actually real.
Oh.
Let's see. She was married to John Fisher. Of course, that's how she got her last name. So I wonder what I'm gonna see. I don't see here anywhere where it says what her actual original last name was before she got married, because she married John Fisher, so that's how
I
she became.
swear, if it's my last name, I'm out. I'm done.
Let's see. They were both convicted of the highway robbery and the capital offenses at the time of the murder. So he actually kind of went down with her. Let's
Okay,
see.
you're fine. Ah, I'm echoing. Oh
She was
no.
born in 1793. Wow. That
You
was
know
when we
what?
first had our serial killer as a female. 1793. It's been so long that I haven't said 19 something, you know what I'm saying? But she was
Yeah.
in the 1700s, baby. Let's see. She died. Oh my gosh, she died February. What? Hold on, let me make sure I have this correct because it's looking a little sketchy. It says she was born. Wait a minute, hold on.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, it's a little low, but I can hear you.
Hello. Okay, hold on. I'm just gonna put. I need to load this for a
I
minute.
guess because you know how papers and things like that back in the day were all computer now, but back then it was all on paper. It doesn't have a specific. Hold on, maybe I'm looking at this wrong. For what I'm looking at right now, I'm going to continue to look, but it says that she died February 18th in 1820. She was born in 1793, but it doesn't show her birth date. So I thought that the death date they had for her was her birth date. She actually wanted to pass away in February 18th, but still, it's in February, and that was kind of random for us because we just kind of started this in February. So let's see. She was actually executed by hanging, and her penalty for her crimes was death, so that's how she died. She died by hanging. Let's see.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but it's still kind of low.
Oh, did you hear me before?
Huh? I can't hear you now.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you better now.
Better or meh?
Like, all right. You're not as loud as you were, and my volume's pretty up high, so.
Just don't want to echo. That was terrible. Manson Part
Yeah,
One.
see, I don't hear an echo. I think you're hearing it just in your ears.
Oh. Well, y'all let me know in the comments if you can hear me. If I need to speak louder. What's going on? I can fix it. Okay, so Lean Wornos. She was known as, again, as America's first serial killer. She carried out a string of notorious and brutal murders along the dark highways of Florida in late 89 to 1990. So she's not that old. She's still young. She's still
Wait,
fresh.
hold on. Maybe I have the. Hold on. What are we talking about?
Aline Wuornos.
Aline or Levine?
Uh,
I have
it's
the.
Aileen.
Oh my God, I was talking about the wrong person.
Oh,
Sorry,
we
guys.
can
I love y'all, but that woman too was crazy.
well, we can have two. It's okay.
Okay.
Um, but this one, she was like, what kind of like the background of it? Like, she was a victim of child abuse herself. In her adult life, she was a petty criminal who worked as a sex worker.
Oh
Um,
yeah, I see her now.
yes, and then so it was during this work that she shot and killed six, possibly even seven men. Are we surprised? typically dumping their bodies in remote wooded areas and stealing their possessions. So she's like, "Hey, you're for the bear now. I'm taking your shit. Goodbye." But I mean, I'm surprised, but I'm not surprised because when you're in like that kind of industry, it's easy to feel like small. I feel like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, wait,
Like,
I have a quick question. Doesn't she have a nickname? I remember
um,
her now. I was looking somebody completely different up, but she was a serial killer, the woman I was looking up.
I have
But
a
I know who,
picture.
now that we're talking about her and I'm looking, I know exactly who this is. Like,
Oh,
I
perfect.
don't know why, how, or what happened to me while I was doing my research right now, but I was like, why do I have this completely different person right next to her? And I was talking about this person, but I don't know how I got mixed up. But yes, I know who you're talking about. But she had a nickname, and that's how I knew her when it happened.
Yes.
She was going by something else, but they called her something else. Like she had a nickname in the streets, and they were calling her that. But she was the one who they tried to make look like she was crazy, like that she just snapped, when really, like you said, she
Yeah.
grew up in some really bad things.
I'm trying to show a picture for y'all, just so y'all kind of have it. Let's see.
She would
Just
be
like
what we
a
would
visual.
call like the infamous, the very first serial killer that was like actually did multiple murders and didn't get caught for a while, and um it was a big back and forth thing, I guess.
Yeah.
Some women, I can say, I'm not gonna lie, I was one of those women who backed her up, as far as like I feel like most of her murders were justified. I think had they helped her in the beginning, she wouldn't have gone that far.
Yes.
But when you grow up like the way they say she did, and you learn about her and the psychological problems that happen, and then in the first incident, she was raped, beaten
Hmm.
and raped. Her first murder ever. Granted, she was prostituting for money, you know what I'm saying? We have women on OF right now doing the same thing, but still, like back then, that's what she grew up having to know how to make money. And
Yes.
till this day, we still have truck stop drivers who got them alligators, you know what I'm saying? Who got them gators
Yeah.
out there, the same women, you know? But I guess back then, when it wasn't talked about too much and she was out here prostituting for just survival, she got raped. How often do we hear that prostitutes get raped? It's never really something they put in the news because it's such a dirty thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But the way it is explained that happened to her the first time, she actually was prostituting, and the man like brutally did some very bad things to her body. And I mean, I didn't
Well,
blame her once I heard what happened. Like I'm like, I understand what happened. I understand why she did what she did, you know?
yeah.
Granted, I don't think anybody should take a life, but what after what he did to her, and knowing a woman's body, I would never have backed that man just getting away with what he did. I
Well,
think any woman put in that situation would have
yeah.
been dead.
I agree. So she was born on February 29th, 56. So I believe that's a Pisces,
So she was a
which is so
February
funny.
baby too, though.
Like,
Considering we're in the
side
February.
note, everybody's like, cancers are all these crybabies. But then it's like, have you seen the
Cancers are
serial
cancers.
killer Pisces out here? Like, I need to share this on Facebook too. But, yeah, so her, okay, so she was born in Rochester, Michigan. Her mother was Diane and was just 16 when she gave birth to her daughter. Right? So after her father, Leo, was jailed for raping a minor, no surprise, later taking his own life in prison cell. Are we surprised? No. Her mother abandoned the children, leaving them in the care of her own alcoholic parents. That's nice. Um, it's just, that's just a shitty background. And then they're like,
And I wonder if her dad being in trouble for raping a minor, if he was already abusing her. You know what I'm
well,
saying?
no,
That stuff's
well,
out
that's
in
what she said. She said she was. It said on there like she was raped. So,
by
um,
her dad too. That was one thing, because that was one thing I never really saw. Like when I was like looking her up, even when I was younger too, when I had looked this stuff up, like I never really found out. I knew her dad got in trouble for raping a minor, but I was
yeah,
thinking, considering that her mom was 16, and then her dad goes to jail for raping a minor, was her mom the minor? Do you see what I'm saying?
yeah,
Because her mom had her at 16. back in the day when she was in that type of in that era of years, that would still have been considered um, rape if he was a lot older than her.
Right.
And so, like, I never got to figure out whether or not the mom was the victim.
Well, the mom couldn't have been right because let's see. She had her really young, first of all. Okay, so
Yeah.
let's think about the mom for a minute. Like she had her young, and then her husband is now a child, baby. So like she probably couldn't. I'm assuming she probably was like, I can't do this, and then she just left the kids. Um, she's like, here, parents, even though y'all are alcoholics, there
Keep
you
her.
go. Do you mind? I'm
Yeah.
going through a lot right now, but you got this. So the children are just kind of like helpless. You know what I mean? Like if
Mhm.
you really, I feel like we're diving deep into like emotions because I'm not
Yeah, like
saying she did
this
was
is a
wrong.
child having a child and then dropping her off into her own home that she knew where her alcoholic parents were and taking off. Like I
I've
tell
noticed,
you guys that I was 16 when I had my first daughter, and I just remember my dad asking me what decision I was gonna make, and the first thing I thought of was I'm gonna bust my butt, finish school, and continue to take care of my kid.
yeah, but not everybody was like that.
Yeah, exactly. Like so, coming from somebody
Like
like
your
complete
parents were
opposite, it's just
like good for you. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Mhm. So, um, and like a year later, she after having her first baby, she gets pregnant again, and that's the whole thing. And I don't mean to be an ass when I say this, and hopefully it's not too controversial, but I noticed like a lot of the women that were into that were like raped most or in the dance entertainment industry. Is that what we're gonna call it that?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
they were sexually assaulted when they were younger. Not saying it's okay. It's just it seems like it's more common, because maybe they're just not saying like what's healthy and what's not. You know what I mean? It just seems like it's more
Or what they're
common,
seeing, they think is what's their normal.
or like, or maybe they're just trying to find love. And that's the only way that they know how. Every
Mhm.
situation's different, but this is just my. It's not really my opinion. It's just my opinion. But yeah, so by the time she was 16, she had two kids. That's rough. Um, anyway, so let's see.
But wait,
And
hold on.
it's
We just talked about okay, wait, hold on. I just want to make sure I back this up and make sure that we talk about this real quick. So she was given to the grandparents who were alcoholics, right?
mhm.
Um, it says she was sexually abused by her grandfather. I found it. I found it. It says she was sexually abused by her grandfather, committing incest with her brother, Keith, and was raped and impregnated by a family friend. This all happened under the care of her grandparents.
Wow.
Yeah.
I
Because
was
like I
trying to.
said, look, usually this is the thing that got me when you just told me that her dad got in trouble for because I never looked up her backstory. I just kind of looked up at what had happened to her in the moment of the serial killing, you know.
Yeah.
But now that we're diving into the back of her history, into her biography and things like that, when you said that her dad got in trouble for, essaying somebody or whatever,
Mhm.
or the RAP word, and I said, you know what? People who have a problem where they get caught doing it, there's a history somewhere. So I started to look into it really quick, and I just saw that her grandpa was raping her, and that's her dad's dad.
Oh, it's right here. I see it. Yep.
You see, so like the dad may have been, I mean, because it says here that even her brother Keith was being essayed by
Yeah.
her grandpa. So I'm thinking if he did it to her, that's a woman. But then also him was doing. She claims he did it to the brother as well. How do we know he wasn't doing it to the dad, and the dad's just the one who got caught for becoming one of those after being? You know what I'm saying?
So
Like
it
that's
wasn't.
really
Yeah.
deep.
So it wasn't the father. It was the grandfather. And then okay. And then he impregnated by a family friend. Oh my. Wait.
Hmm.
Hold on. I gotta read this out loud.
I know. Just
I'm
so
like,
good.
Ornis was sexually abused by her grandfather, committing incest with her brother Keith, and was raped and impregnated by a family. Okay, so this was the woman herself.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
This
Okay,
is
so
Eileen Warren. I don't want to say that right, but I mean, I don't want to say that wrong, but
and instead of keeping the
Warren.
baby, she didn't get a choice in it. She had to
Mm.
place that baby up for adoption when she was only 15, and that's rough.
Yeah.
I haven't
I
had
can
a
tell you.
baby at 15, but I can't even imagine because I was
I mean, you're
barely
still going through
clawing by.
puberty. You know what I'm saying?
Even like at 18, like I had a kid at 18. You
Yeah.
know, you know. But anyway, she was so by then the grandparents. She was driven out of the grandparents' home and forced to live in the woods. That's probably where this came out of. So where she turned to sex work to earn money for food.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
so this
mind
is
you,
making
for
some sense.
food, she wasn't even like, she was just trying to survive and feed herself. I mean,
Yes.
after being through this crazy stuff, I know this is such a crazy story, guys, but we just want to get you through it with us, you know?
Right.
After having this crazy upbringing, this crazy abuse, and not only her brother, you know what I mean? And
Yes.
then they're like, "Oh, well, you're having a baby and by some of a family friend, now you got to give him up and get out?" Like,
Right.
how much more could you not be loved and then be thrown out after having a baby that you have to give up, that no mother ever wants to give up their child, no. And I mean, unless they know that they're really sick or for some reason an addiction, things like,
Yeah.
I really don't think that she was one of those mom who was just like really quick to want to give her kid up, but did it for the right reasons, because I'm sure if I was abused like that, I would never have wanted my child around
Well,
me
I think it
knowing that
was.
the
I
abuse will
bet
happen.
you it was them going, I'm not getting
So the
caught for
family
this shit.
figured, we want you out, we got to get this out, we don't want nobody to know about it.
Exactly.
And then good old Gramps over here probably didn't want any heat on him.
Exactly. That's
So
exactly
they
what it
throw
was.
her out.
And then it was like a family friend too. So they're like, it's even
Yeah.
like
Was it Gramps' friend? All the questions were raised. It was
for
somebody close to
what?
them. A lot, there's a big, can't tell you the statistic right now, but there's a big percentage of
Yeah.
statistics that say that, like, somebody, usually when it happens, it's somebody that's in the family or a family friend. And this just happened to be one of the statistics that she fell into. It was a family friend. And then,
Exactly.
her sin is out. Well, actually, his sin, the guy who, hurt her, is sin. We carry it, so she's out there.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, the family wants to just hide it or, give the baby away because, blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
And she's still a kid. Like, this woman
She's
was
still a
still a young
baby.
woman who had been going through all this abuse. And, she has this baby she can't keep. And then they throw her out and she's fending for her food to survive, you
Yeah.
know? That's literally, I want to make sure that our folks know that that's what turned her to prostitution. When people ask, like, how do people wind up like this? Yeah, some people wanted to. Yeah, some people started as strippers. Yeah, this woman was abused. Her family threw her out. And then here we are. She's just literally living in the woods trying to eat. So she's like, I don't know what else to do. Nobody taught her how to work. Nobody taught, you know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
and at that
Well,
age, sometimes they don't even hire you. They don't hire you. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. Like,
So it's just,
be
yeah.
lucky to get a
So here
job
we
at 15. And yeah, Chris, like the whole situation is wild. We're not even halfway through it, but
are. Oh, this is just the beginning.
and exactly Sarah too, because Sarah was, but feel bad for the child, not the adult, and that's correct.
Yeah, that's a big problem in our system. That's a big problem. They're like, "Oh, we'll take your kid, but we don't need you."
Yeah.
Like,
So
women women
after,
are
sorry.
no, that's okay.
So after she turned to the work and she went to go earn money, she then hitchhiked her way to the south, where she met and married Florida Yacht Club president, fancy, Louis Gretz Fell. He was 69 in 1976. So she's so young. This is 15, by the way. She was 15. I think that's what it says. And then the union appeared to be a search for security after a troubled upbringing, but it didn't last. But anyway, so moving on. Just 9 weeks after the wedding, it was annulled, and Warno's, what is her first name again?
Um, they say
Eileen?
Eileen. Hold on,
Aileen?
hold on, hold on. Eileen.
Eileen. Okay, so
Eileen.
Eileen
Hmm.
Okay, so Eileen returned to intolerant life of ballroom brawls, petty crime, and periodic suicide attempts, living for a time off the $10,000 she had received from Keith's life insurance policy after he died of esophageal cancer. Okay, so she married a rich man. She's getting by. She's living a life of crime. She's
Wait, I have a question real quick.
mhm.
Keith was the brother, right? Keith was her brother.
R- Oh, yep, you're right.
So Keith winded up dying, and that's how she got that little $10,000 she was trying to kind of manage off of.
She
It
okay,
says
so
Keith's
she
life
was
insurance
15.
policy.
Yeah, because well, maybe she could have been 16 at the time. It just says that 15 is when she was driven out of the home. That's
Mm.
when she went to do the work and
And she
get
finds
the
this guy,
money.
she marries. It seems like, an insurance, like, like security type of thing.
So she was
And then
still,
after 9 weeks, it was annulled, they say, right?
yeah, maybe she could have been 18 for all we know. But so she got 10 grand. She sounds like a hot mess already. I can't even imagine. She kind of looks like one of those smoker moms.
You know what? I thought about that. I was like, she looks like one of the moms I probably would have seen in the neighborhood who had the cigarette in her mouth.
Hmm.
But was like was like the cool mom, I guess.
Yeah,
The one who
so
was kind of like loving but also very strict.
yeah, so like the cigarette mom, we'll call it cigarette mom. Yeah. So, through the 1980s, she was regularly in trouble with the law, engaging in armed robbery, car theft, disorderly conduct, leaving a trail of chaos in her wake. So, in 1986, she met Tyria Moore, a 24-year-old Daytona Beach motel
Motel
maid.
maid.
I was
Yeah.
like, model.
Yeah.
Um, so, and that was at a gay bar. So she fell in love. They fell in love, and they tried to support Miss Moore with her earnings from the
That's
sex
work.
work. Can we say these words? I don't know. But I. So what did she do? Like, so she was operating along Florida's highways in the late 1980s, and is believed to have murdered up to 7 men between 89 and 90. So that's in like a whole like year, 1 or 2 years. So all the victims were motorists who had been approached her as a sex worker clients. The first victim is Richard Mallory, a 51-year-old electronics store owner who was shot on the November 30th, 89. His body was found in a wooded area 2 weeks later, riddled with bullets. So she didn't just go bang bang. She was like bang 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 bang
He
bang.
made sure that, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
They made a movie about her, and when I honestly, it was hard for me to watch. I'm not gonna lie, because I remember when I was younger hearing about this, and
Hmm.
then seeing her face, and then they made her look so crazy by taking random pictures of her and stuff. But then, like as a woman, I was like, I don't think someone would just do that. So I started to look into what had happened, and then the movie comes out with Charlize Theron, and the way she explained to the people so that they could explain it in the movie what happened to her that first time was so awful. Like,
Yeah.
I kind of it kind of took me. I had to like pause for a minute and just like breathe because I was like, the fact that this guy could do that to her. Like,
Yeah.
I don't see why a woman would ever lie about a man hurting her, even if she isn't like. I've met plenty. God forgive me for even telling you guys this, but I've been around plenty of bad neighborhoods enough to know the way sex workers are and how prostitutes are. Some of
Yeah.
these women just had nothing else to do. Some of these women don't have families. But the prostitutes, I'm not going to lie to you. They have no reason to lie to you about anything because
Yeah.
they've been through everything. Like, you would be surprised what some of these women go through. And I don't think that this woman lied about what happened in her first encounter that made her snap and continue to do this. But
Yes.
the way when I saw it in the movie, like the way it happened, if anybody here has seen it, like I know y'all know that was one of the hardest parts in a movie that I've ever seen. Was her
Right.
first encounter with this guy, and when they say that she released all bullets and he was full of bullets, it was understandable for me on why she did it.
She
She would
probably would. It
never
was
be able to get up and do it again to her.
out of anger. Um. Yeah. So she said that Mallory had beaten and raped her after he picked her up. They later emerged that Mallory had prior conviction for attempting rape in Maryland, adding credibility to her story. The bodies of 5 other missing men were discovered between June 1st and the 19th of November 1990 all trace back to Eileen. The victims were construction worker David Andrew Spears, 47, rodeo rider Charles Edmund Carscadden, 40, salesman, whoa, Troy Eugene Burris, 50, retired U.S. Air Force
Air
Major,
Force Major.
Chief Charles Richard Humphreys, 56, and trucker and security guard Walter Gino Antonio, 62. Those people need-
It's a range of, I mean, now that you're talking about them and I'm looking at their ages, it's a range. You know, it goes anywhere from 40 to 62.
yeah, ooh. Yeah, Chris, exactly. He's like, ooh.
Yeah.
So Eileen is believed to have killed and robbed 7 men. Again, I know I keep saying this, and the retired merchant seaman Peters Abraham Sims, 67, during the same period. He was reported missing, but his body was never found. Um, so let's talk about how she got caught. Okay. Um, so the law finally caught up with her when Siam's car was found crashed along the roadside, and her palm print was discovered on an interior door handle. So she was arrested at the Last Resort Biker Bar at Port Orange. I don't know why all these bikers are coming at me. Because you're at a biker bar, bitch. Sorry. So Volusia, I don't know. That was on January 9th, 91, and Miss Moore in Pittston, Pennsylvania, the following day. Um, she was persuaded to turn on her lover and elicited a confession from her. So during the taped phone call on January 16th, she admitted to Miss Moore that she had carried out the murders. That's how they get you. You got to watch what you say on the phone.
This was one of those things where, you know, she went through a crazy life. She met somebody she fell in love with, and she continued the lifestyle of how she knew how to make money to support this woman. And then she gets caught for these things, and this woman, you know, this girl that she loved just was like, you know, I'll take the deal. We'll do a phone call, and it just, you know, she gave herself up, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, this is the person she loved and she cared about and she trusted and she took, you know, she did
Yes.
the phone call. You know, the phone call was made.
Exactly. So um, on January 27th, 92, she was convicted of Mallory's murder. During her trial, psychiatrists for the defense argued that she was mentally unstable. Duh. And suggested that she might be suffering from borderline personality disorder. Not surprised. So, despite this, she was sentenced to death for the murder, which sucks. But she has, that it's a blessing and a curse because if you live that hard of a life, I'm sure you're just tired, So, um, I don't know. We'll get into that later. But so on March 92, she then pleaded no contest to the killings of Spears, Burgess, and Humphreys, receiving 3 more death sentences. She later pleaded guilty to the murders of Castan and Antonio and was again sentenced to death. Siam's murder is the only one she was not compelled to answer to due to the fact that there was no body, but she's already got death sentence on all of them. It doesn't really matter, but she
Mhm.
spent the next decade on death row at the Florida Department of Corrections, Broward Correctional Institution. In 2001, she wrote to the state Supreme Court renouncing all remaining appeals on her behalf, clearing, I killed those men, robbed them as cold as ice, and I'd do it again, too. She was transferred to Florida State Prison ahead of her execution in 2002. For her final meal, she chose to have a cup of coffee.
Was it
Oh,
black? Does it say if it was black? Because I
which
know
is,
that they said she was like a black coffee drinker.
I bet you she was a freaking black coffee
You know, I
drinker.
can't even lie, and I don't mean to make like
My
a joke
spirit
about
sees
this
it's
because like I love,
brown.
yeah, but I
Like
see her being that smoker mom who drinks the black coffee. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
maybe like a little sugar in it because I see like brown.
maybe,
You know what I mean?
maybe.
Like there's like maybe some milk or cream or something. It's so she only chose a cup of coffee. That's different. That's cool.
Yeah, that's completely different from like, you know, I've seen a lot of different men and seen I was kind of weird, but I've watched a lot of murder things and things like that.
Hmm.
Most men want a full meal, a movie, and all. She just wanted her little black cup of
Yeah. I mean, simple. Maybe her life was just so hard that she was like, I don't
You
want
know,
to.
the way the movie made it seem like that she knew that the girl was trying to get off on, you know, not getting in trouble, and she knew what she had done. So like you said, she was tired. The movie made it seem like she was very tired of the life she was living anyway, so she gave herself up on the thing. Now
Yeah.
here it explains that she literally was like, I'd do it again. But
Mhm.
when I've seen interviews with her and things like that, I have seen her like very like calm. Like when they say that she
Yeah.
was like borderline personality, I really think had somebody cared about her enough, they would have pushed for it and she could have, you know, I won't say be an excuse, but she wouldn't have been put to death for this. Because when
Mhm.
you see her in interviews, she's very calm, very respectful at first. You know, she smokes a little cigarette, she talks about some stuff, and then she starts getting upset really quick, like you would see a bipolar person with that
Yeah.
type of disability. Like you see, I mean, you see it in the interviews, you know? And
Mhm.
then the way she explains it, sometimes when they quit, because you know, after so many interviews, you get tired of it and started saying the same thing. So I understand like the way she was getting antsy about it. But I remember watching an interview with her and she was saying, yeah, I did it. All these men that I didn't, it wasn't something where I was just like, woohoo, we're going to do it. It was like I was offering them an exchange of sex for money and they decided to take advantage of me. So this is what they got. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I am team her. I'm not gonna lie. Like Miss Monica is team Eileen because I feel like you already know these men knew that they were doing something that was not
Mhm.
supposed to be done. They went looking for somebody, they found somebody, and when she offered an exchange, an even exchange for her body and the money, they decided to take advantage of her because this is the life that she lived. And all these men had families and people that cared about them. Look at this guy who was an Air Force major and the police chief. Like
Yeah.
these men had good lives, but they were doing dirty things. And then
Yeah.
they go to a sex worker. She knows what she is. She knows who she is. She wants the exchange of money, and then they take advantage of her. Now, I'm not saying this woman should be excused for all these serial killers. I mean, all these serial killings. I'm saying I was one of those people who understood exactly why she did it. Because I
Yes.
put myself in her shoes and thought, what if how brutal the first guy did her? Like, I mean, come on, guys.
It wasn't even like just some guy. It was like a whole family member,
Yeah,
and
but I
her
mean, like
son was
after
crying.
all the abuse and the work that she did, what made her really crazy, not just the past guys, but like the moment where the first guy decided to essay her in a way that was so abusive, like her body could have made, I mean, the way they explain what he did and
Mhm.
the way she explains it when she has her interviews on paper, you know, when they're writing, she's not gonna say that she wasn't allowed to say things like that on camera back then, but
Right.
the way they say that he took a four-way tire thing, you know, the tire thing that's like four different, it's like this. You know what I'm talking about? When you change a tire, you have to use that
Oh, the oh
oh,
god, oh, it looks so
you know what
bad
I mean?
right now.
Okay,
So,
cool. They
yeah,
say that
the yeah,
yeah, okay, so they say that, you know, I think he hit her and then he tied her up to his car and then he abused her with that and then threw alcohol on her body. Anybody knows everybody, whether you're a mom, kid, everybody's gotten their arm, their elbow, something hurting where somebody put alcohol on it and you knew that burned. It burned.
yeah.
And that's just a cut on your knee and your elbow. Can you imagine being abused and then having somebody squirt alcohol there? Like that would have made me go crazy. She's already been through abuse. She knows she's a sex worker. She offers this guy an exchange. She wants something more. He hits her. He puts her to, I mean, she wakes up and she's being abused. She gets alcohol poured on her. Like, I don't know any other reason why this man shouldn't have had that many bullets in him. Like, I'm not a murderer, guys. I love y'all, but like, this is just my opinion. Like, as a woman,
It's
I can
entertainment
understand
purposes.
why she wanted to make sure he was not going to get up to redo
Ex-
what he did to her.
Well,
You
that's
know?
what they say. Like when you commit a crime, like when you shoot somebody, like if you're shooting more than once, most of the time it's for self defense. You're not going to just shoot
And
somebody
you're
once and
scared,
be like,
and I
oh,
can understand. Like, this woman knew what she was, who she was, and she was doing her job. This
yeah.
guy took advantage of her, ruined her body, burned it afterwards, like with the chemicals, and then decides
For
that
all
he
we know, they just
should
maybe
just
they
go
weren't
home.
wanting to pay her, or they did something
It was
wrong. Maybe they triggered her. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
they're gonna.
and then look, okay, so the first murder happens. You know, they find him full of bullets, and they're like, you know, okay, this looks personal. But then, you know, when they see what happened, they understand why he was murdered. You know what I'm saying? Like she wasn't lying. She was a sex worker. She told them. You know what I'm saying? And then okay, this is the thing. I understand in that area why she did what she did. Now,
Oh,
I mean, a
Loney.
lot of people when they're hurt like that, and I mean, I have been a counselor for many of these women. Um,
Mhm.
when you've been hurt like that, a lot of times nobody wants to be put on the paper. Nobody wants to go tell on the guy because they don't want to be put in the paper and have the whole world know that this guy
Not
did that.
only that,
And because
like
then they're
most
considered by
time,
other men to be dirty or used or hurt in a way where nobody can like them anymore. So a
even
lot
the
of times when SA victims get SA'd or hurt or RAPED, they are more likely not to say nothing so that they're not plastered all over the paper and the media, you know?
yeah,
So
yeah,
now, mind you, she's a prostitute. She knows who she is. She cleans herself up and she just, tries to keep her life going. And then she continues to make money the way she knows how. And then what she says in her interviews, in some of these interviews, is that she continued to do, because the police weren't helping her, she continued to do what she was doing to make money, to just live and sustain her life. And then all these men that she killed, she explains that they were trying to overbear her. And that's why she just continued to just, well, this. And honestly, guys, don't take me the wrong way and don't think of me in a bad way, guys, when I say this, but it's kind of like when you think of somebody who killed a child molester.
mhm,
We've had this conversation, like me and Mary, every once in a while. How is it? Do we put that person in jail who killed them because they found out that the guy raped their daughter? Like, what do we do? Do we let them go? Like, to me, I find it like I don't think it's right that anybody kills anybody, but at the same time, in the moment, if I caught somebody doing that to my kid, you damn well know if I had a gun that they'd be out there. You know what I'm saying? They'd be out of my house and out of everybody else's life about it. Now, that's just
exactly.
coming from a parent. I am one of those parents who will kill for my kids because I have heard, Miss Mary, I know you've seen the statistics that some moms won't do that for their kids. I am a mama bear to the end,
Mhm.
So for me, I saw it as okay, if she knew what she was doing, I am not in any way saying that I think she should have did it that long. I think she is after the first time she should have took herself out the game and fucking went to go work at HEB. But I'm just saying, for someone who came up with this type of life and who is juggling this bipolar disorder, she doesn't want to tell nobody what happened to her. She cleans herself up and continues her life, but then she has to support this woman she loves, and this woman is expecting her to support her and
Yeah,
live this lifestyle that they're living. And I'm just saying, like, I can say I don't think she should have gone that far. I don't think she should have continued to kill people, but
I
I
think
I
I
do
think
understand
she
why she did
I
this.
think she was just handing like a shitty thing.
A
Like
shitty hand,
even
yeah.
even once she got out at like 15, you know what I mean? Like she got out at 15, and then she had nowhere to go. She was starting from scratch, and then instead of saying, going to the grocery store, maybe she did. Maybe she went to the
Well, think
um,
about it.
Piggly
You're living
Wiggly
in the
for all
woods.
we know. Like
That's what I'm saying though. You're living in the woods. How is she gonna go work at Piggly Wiggly? She has nowhere to shower. She has nowhere to get herself together. She's gonna and it, even if she tried,
but she
she
did
would have
get that.
failed
But she
because it
did
would have
get that
yeah,
money. She got like that 10 grand when
yeah,
her
she did.
brother passed. So she got that. So that would have been a good time to not. So maybe she was just. Part of me thinks.
Psychologically, she was drinking. They said she was at the bars and stuff. She was drinking too. And then think about it. If she knew her brother was being molested by her grandpa and then he dies from esophageal cancer, and
That's
then like she's drinking, she's battling bipolar. I mean, because they're saying that she's borderline bipolar. She was battling bipolar in her mind. She's already psychologically messed up from all the abuse. She's already given her child away, which let me tell you something, guys. When a woman has her child taken from her, that's another type of level of disassociation that happens sometimes.
yeah,
Sometimes a mother will be living but not actively understanding what's going on in her life.
yeah.
Because when a woman has a bond in her body with a baby and that baby comes out, we are natural nurturers no matter what happens. When somebody rips that child from you, you literally have a type of anger in you that I don't think anybody can explain. And now, mind you, this woman was abused. Her child was taken. She's thrown out. She's battling bipolar. And then her brother dies after living an abused life as well. And she gets this check. She's already an alcoholic. She's drinking, I'm pretty sure she spent some money. $10,000 was a lot back then when that happened. It was enough to maybe start, put a down payment on a home. But then again, that's not the life she lived, you know?
Well, yeah.
I mean, it
Ten
was definitely the
thousand.
amount of money that could have kept her out of the street for a while, and
Yeah.
kind of started her off. Why she felt like she couldn't do that, we don't know. She was battling all kinds of stuff. And I'm going to tell you something, battling bipolar throughout your whole life and not knowing you're bipolar, that's a hard thing to do. I've heard that women are misdiagnosed sometimes for anxiety and bipolar. So
Oh
sometimes
yeah, all the
women go to
time.
get their mental illnesses checked. a lot of times when they're borderline bipolar, they mistake it for depression or anxiety.
Yes.
And that is something, look at this picture, this is crazy. But that's something that happened. So, we obviously know she wasn't going to a psychiatrist, but to live with bipolar untreated for so long and then have that type of psychological problem that happened before from the abuse, like this is like bad and just boom, Now, some of these pictures are a little crazy, I'm not going to lie. Here they say that she looks so crazy, but they're saying that she was pushing her hair back out of her way at court, but somebody just happened to get this crazy photo of her,
There's always some kind of bullshit ass media. Like,
Yeah, for real. I can say like I can say that like I when I would watch when I would watch her interviews and stuff like that, I could
Mhm.
appreciate her honesty. She was very blunt. Very blunt. Now I've come from neighborhoods where I've met prostitutes, I've met hookers, I've met all kinds of things, strippers, everything. And I don't think I think I think prostitutes are more upfront and honest with you than a stripper is. And I'm gonna be honest with you because but there's those strippers who have prostituted, but for some reason I'm not gonna lie. Like I said, I've been around in the world. I've got a couple years on me. Um, for some reason, strippers think that they're better than prostitutes, even though some of them prostitute sometimes. A prostitute. Let me tell you the difference between them. From a hood woman who's been in the hood when growing up, I'm not. I'm from the hood. I'm not that crazy though.
yeah.
I got out of the hood, guys. So just know Miss Monica's been through some places and lived in some places and met some crazy people, but
Yeah.
I'm definitely a different product of that environment. But prostitutes for me, when I had discussions with them, whether it was coming from the corner store or the grocery store in the bad neighborhood, whatever, they're so blunt. They are they ain't got nothing to lie for. They know who they are. They're trying to make their money on their corner, and if they see you walking, be careful, honey. See you later. Like I knew I've seen prostitutes on corners of the, because as your kid, you go to the store, you go to stores with your friends, you go walking in the neighborhoods you live in, things like that. I can tell you one thing. Prostitutes are so blunt, but because they have lived such a crazy life, sometimes they have such good hearts, but they're just who they are in that world, And
Yeah.
strippers seems to think that they're higher than prostitutes, when I know 90% of those strippers wind up being prostitutes, but quietly. But it's like you're both in the sex industry. I don't understand why you're feeling better than one another. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for me, from my opinion, prostitutes are very blunt, yet they are very loving in a way sometimes when that they still have a heart. Like
Right.
I've known prostitutes to go make money and have money for them to survive that day to get a hotel, but then they see somebody giving plates at a church and they'll go give some money of their money to go get that plate,
Yeah.
to support whatever's going on in their neighborhood.
I've seen that.
And I've also found like that, like I said, I have found that strippers just think that they're better than prostitutes, and I'm not talking down on strippers. I'm just saying, like, I've met plenty of them. Um, their attitude is completely different. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
when I see her doing these interviews where she's just very blunt, straight to the point, like it just kind of reminds me of like some of these women I've met of the street,
Yeah.
But I can appreciate her bluntness and her honesty because she has nothing to lie for. She knows who she is. She knows what she's done. And it said it right there. She told them, I'll do it again. I robbed them and I'll do it again. And that's who she was,
Yep. Exactly. I got one last photo. This one, cigarette
Yeah,
mom.
so okay, you see this look she has in her eye, guys? In
Mhm.
this photo that we have, this is one of those moments where like she would be perfectly fine in an interview and then she would snap and start getting mad at the person who was talking to her because she felt offended by what they said, and she would have this very darkness about herself. And like, some people caught the photo, some people caught the video, but this is the difference in between of, you see where she's smiling and happy and she's herself, and then you have the bipolar disorder kick in, and this is what happens sometimes. It's completely two different people.
Yeah.
It starts off nice and happy, and we have plenty of photos of her, like smiling even though she's in court, and smiling even though things have happened to her. And then you have the points where she's just aggravated with people, and then she goes into this trance where you can see perfectly here, like
Yes.
she's either thinking about something, like, or she's about to get mad. I've been around enough bipolar people to know like the snap, the 0 to 100, and the attitude change really quick. You know what I've noticed
Yeah.
too, Miss Mary? When you're talking to somebody who's bipolar or who has like multiple or split personalities, when the shift change happens and the transition happens, it's like in a blink of an eye. but the eyes always change.
Yeah.
Anytime I've seen somebody snap or get angry, or like I said, the transition from multiple personalities happen, it's the eyes that will show you the most fastest way.
This is true. But except for me, because my eyes go all over the place. I have terrible eye contact. I'm like, I'll be like listening, and I'm like, but my mind
you
goes
know what?
100 miles an hour.
I was gonna tell you that, like, sometimes when me and you talk, I don't take offense to it because I know that your brain's going really fast because you're thinking. I'm an
I'll be like,
overthinker and I bite my nails, so that's one thing that happens to me. But you know what? My mom did to me one time, Miss Mary. I have to tell you guys too, because you guys
you're
are
a lot
arguing.
better at eye contact than me, and I'll be like today I made eye contact with
I
that
feel
little
like
girl, and I was like, for like a whole minute, and I'm like,
sometimes when I have eye contact with you, I make you uncomfortable, so I do look the other way because
I seen that, I seen you do that too, because
I
I'm
know
like,
that Miss
but
Mary's
you're like,
very.
sometimes you'll just be like so intense, like in a good way. You'll be
No,
like,
she's my
you'll be
best friend.
like,
She's my
you'll be
best
like,
friend.
listen, best friend, listen, and I'm like,
Miss Mary kind of like, Monica.
I know, and I'm like,
Oh, she's like, this is a little uncomfortable.
I'm like, what do I do with my hands? Am I cupping you? Like, can I see your butt? Like, I don't know.
So my mom, she is like, okay, so like the way Miss Mary is with me, I am with my mom. Like my mind's going 1,000 miles an hour. I'm trying to cook my kids something to eat. I'm thinking about all the dishes I got to do. Like I'm an overthinker, right? So when I'm talking to my mom, I'll be talking to her now, and I'm like looking around because I'm literally in my memory remembering what I had to tell her, right? So sometimes I don't give her eye contact, and sometimes like when I'm talking to her about like boyfriends and stuff, she's like, okay, but look at me, when you talk to me. Boy, let me tell you something. My mom will light a fire in my butt when she does that to me. And I'm like, Mom, she even made me cry one time. Even the last time my mom told me that, she made me cry. And
You
I was
know,
deaf.
and
That's
then
me out
and
of
it's
nowhere.
funny because I do the same thing with when I've seen your mom. Oh no, what happened? Where'd you go? Oh, there he is.
I'm here. I'm here.
But she was like when your mom, I'll be like, "Hi, Miss Monica's mom."
Yeah.
I'm
My mom is like old school Catholic. Like she talks to you, but she's like right here. And I'm like, I can do that, but sometimes I'm literally thinking, and when I'm thinking, my eyes move, and like in my memory, I'm thinking, so my eyes are moving. And she's like, but look at me when you talk to me. And I'm like, Mom, I'm fucking 37
it
years
makes
old,
it
bro. Like, what
like
the hell?
it makes it horrible for the podcast too because I'll be like, you know, wipe my eye. Like I have to be. I do that at work too. I got to be touching something.
Yeah. And you know what? This is so funny that we're talking about this. Every time I've ever seen her videos where she did interviews, Eileen was her eyes, I feel like she didn't blink that much, but her eyes were always like very intense. I think
Yeah.
if I would have did an interview with her, I would have been like, okay, after that, I would have been mentally like breathing myself and like fanning myself. She was so intense when she spoke, you know?
Yes. You know, most of my friends are intense. Like you, Cheryl, y'all are pretty intense.
Mhm.
Like I'll be like,
Or like Mary's friends consist of very intense people, but very joyful too. Like when we're
yeah,
talking about things, we talk about things very seriously, but we're such big goofballs. Like that's just who we
and
are.
every time, and I freaking love it. And then sometimes though, like sometimes I'm so sarcastic, and then when somebody's sarcastic and I'm trying to be silly, I'm like, that's not the silliness I was going.
Yeah. Well, I think it was a good start off for our February kickoff. I
Yes.
really enjoyed her story because I'm like, this is a murder, this is a serial killer, but I feel like I really liked getting to know about her because it's so crazy how we saw her videos and then you read her interviews and then you hear who she was. And I just think she was one of the most fascinating people that I had ever seen on the newspaper and things like that. You know, that was back in the newspaper days.
So we have
We
so
touched on.
next so we have the Manson Part 2 posted up.
Mhm.
And then next week you will see a episode on what was her name? You'll
Lorena
see.
Bobbitt.
Bobbitt. I've been talking about it all week.
Yes,
And
guys, we are in the month
serial
of
killer
love.
month. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're
Serial killer
trying to.
month.
Yeah, so next we have, so today was Eileen, and if you haven't seen that movie Monster, guys, check it out because you will definitely be interested in that one if you were interested in our conversation today. We are not sponsored by any way, but I'm just saying that was the movie I watched
You
about her
wanna
life and kind of put it together.
yes. Carly, I don't know when she's gonna be back. She should be having surgery soon. So just keep her in
Keep
your
her in
thoughts.
your thoughts and prayers, guys.
There's magic. Cash
Mhm.
app that girl. So, all right. So we're gonna cut it because we are at a minute. I hope y'all have a spooky day, and I will see y'all on the lives for the 80s theme.